What's up, guys? This is Coach Grant with First Down Training, and today we're going to be breaking down how wide receivers can make more explosive cuts. We're going to be breaking down the exact mechanics of how you guys can snap down violently at the top of the route. So I hope this video helps you guys out, and I hope it could teach you a few new things. But also, fellas, if you are a wide receiver and you would like a daily training schedule that you can follow with the exact on-field drills you should be doing and gym exercises you should be doing on a day-to-day basis, check out that very first link in the description below for our 4-week ultimate wide receiver training schedule. You'll get access to over 200 plus wide receiver gym exercise and field exercises that you can do with examples and sets and reps given to you. So check out that very first link in the description below if you're interested. Let's get started with this video. So first route we're going to be looking at here is from Tank Dell. Now, Tank Dell is one of the most explosive route runners in this upcoming draft class, and he showcases a great snap down, hip drop, level change, whatever you want to call it, at the top of the break. So on every single route, what are we obviously trying to get this DB to do? Whether it's a 5-yard hitch, 15-yard comeback, a dig, we are trying to get him, when it's man coverage at least, to open up his hips, open up the gate, and think we are running a fade. Everything is a fade until it's not a fade, right? But there are 3 specific things that all wide receivers need to do to make this DB think he's running a fade. And this is going to tie into the snap down in a second, I promise. So number 1, you got to make sure that we are running hard. If you guys are running slow, this DB is not going to think you're running a fade. If you come off and you're bursting up for 5 yards and then right before you get to this break point to snap down and drop your hips, you start to slow down, that is one of the biggest indicators that you can give to a DB that you're about to make a break. So we need to make sure that we maintain my speed. Now, next to maintaining your speed, you need to have good body language. What so many wide receivers will do is because they know that they have to drop low at the top of the break to snap down, to decelerate, they will raise their chest up and lift up and almost put their chin facing up in the air so they can snap down. And that is another indicator because a DB is supposed to be watching where? Your hips and your body language. So you raise up, you slow down, that's an indicator. And then last but not least, what guys will do is right before the break point, they start to chop their stride. They start to take choppy steps because they are preparing for the hip drop. Now, choppy steps, yeah, that'll probably help you come to balance and that'll probably help you snap down. But again, it's an indicator because you're changing your speed. So the reason why I bring up all 3 of those things is that at the top of the route, the whole reason we want to have that explosive level change, that hip drop, that snap down, violent with my hips, all of those things that I say over and over and over again is because decelerating on a dime while selling vertical properly is not an easy thing to do. So many wide receivers have been taught wrong. They've been taught at the top of the break you want to beat the drum with your hands and take all these choppy steps. Now, yeah, that might help you get out of the break, but if you're running full speed and your only plan of action is going to chop your feet and move your hands really fast, you are probably going to drift off the route, or you are going to have a very slow drop of your hips, which gives this DB time to react. The name of the game with route running is get that DB to think fade, have an explosive change of direction with little to no wasted motion, and do not give the DB time to react. And I cannot do that without snapping down at the break point. Now, sometimes wide receivers maybe aren't strong enough to do this type of movement. Maybe they lack leg strength, maybe they lack ankle stability, knee stability, and so they have to do certain exercises in the gym and on the field to replicate that. And that's totally fine. Every wide receiver starts at different spots. But when it comes to that hip drop mechanically, there are a couple things you need to do to get into an efficient position to stop on a dime. Number 1, you need to make sure that with your hip drop, you are actually sitting your butt down. So many wide receivers, what they'll do at the break point is they think they're getting low, but instead of sitting their butt down, they will bend at their waist and they will lean forward. Now, when you're selling vertical properly and you actually got this DB to open his hips, you're running hard, you're running fast, and you don't even need to be faster than the DB, you just need to be running hard. But when you have that kind of momentum and you don't sit your butt down and you bend at your waist and let's say your chest and your chin go past your knee. So instead of your head being right here, your head would be right here. You are going to drift forward. It's not going to be an explosive cut, and you're essentially going to drift right into this DB. So we need to almost think of it like your hips are an anchor in a ship. I'm sure everybody has seen a ship before and they've seen an anchor. When they drop an anchor, it goes straight down. That's how I want you guys to think of your hips. We are sitting straight down. Now, again, There are two extremes to this. You could fall forward if you have an improper break point, or you could fall backwards if you have an improper break point. So a lot of guys will sit down, but they take it to the extreme. They'll sit down at the break point and their chest will be straight up in the air and their back will be straight, their chin will be up, they're exposing their number. Now again, when you have that kind of speed and your back is straight, you're probably going to fall backwards because your weight is probably going to be distributed on your heels. We don't want to think of it like a back squat in the gym, fellas. We want to think of it like a squat, but with your upper half, we still have to maintain an explosive and balanced position. So a good gauge is you want to try to sit into a chair with your butt, like we said, and bring your chin to your knee. You literally want to try to touch your chin to your knee. So now you're in a position of balance. You sit down to stop and your chin goes to your knee to really put the brakes on and bring you to balance. So now when you're in this position, that allows you to stop. But it doesn't guarantee that you're going to stop on a dime. It'll slow you down getting to this position, but how are you actually dropping to change direction? And that's where the violence of your hips comes into play. So the main thing, again, that we talked about, because the whole goal of route running, there's three phases. You got to self-fade, you got to create energy at the break, and you got to be able to accelerate out of the break. I won't be able to create energy at the break, to shoot out, to shoot back to the quarterback, to shoot back to the ball if my hips are not violent. So you guys want to think of it like literally when you're about to drop on a dime, like somebody's got a string attached to your chin and there's a dude with his hand on that string and he's pulling the string down as hard as he can pull that string down. And that is what's going to help you guys change levels explosively, drop your hips quickly, and put you in a position to break on a dime. Now, there is one critique here that I have with this route from Tank Dell, and we're going to show a second example that doesn't have this problem. But when he snaps down, he gets extremely low. But when he gets out of the break, you see how his body starts to turn before his feet get down. So he snaps down, takes his second step, body starts to turn. You see how his third step is way outside of his frame and extended. That can put a lot of pressure on your knee and on your ankle, or it could just lead to you slipping at the top of the break. This is not a spot that we want to get to because that is a very dangerous spot to get to. And that's simply because he tried to turn out of the break with his body instead of letting his feet drive him out. So when you guys snap down at the top of the break and you have that explosive hip drop, yes, we want to snap down. Yes, we want to get low, bring my chin to my knee, but those feet need to be powerful and they need to be inside of my frame because those steps will create energy to shoot you back to the quarterback, keep you in a balanced position and a safe position. Because everybody's biggest fear when running full speed and cutting is, oh, well, coach, I'm going to tear my ACL. I hear that one all the time. And you probably will if you go out there and run with bad form, you don't drop correctly, you don't do the proper exercises that you need to do. So there's a method to the madness. Not everybody, not Joe Blow sitting on the couch over here can come out and go run a 15-yard comeback and snap down on a dime. There are a lot of things that you need to do to build to this point. We're just talking about the mechanics, right? And that's why we post more than one thing. That's why I don't just post about this and say, hey, this is how you stop on a dime. No, I'm giving you guys drills. I'm showing you myself coaching up different athletes, explaining their critiques so you guys can see the recipe. You got to see the recipe, and that's how you guys can execute this. So let's play this again full speed, and then we're going to show a correct example of the last steps of the snap down. But the first and second part of the route, selling fade, dropping on a dime, is exactly where you want to be. And that's a great example from Tank Dell in that respect. Now, to clean up the extra part of it, this is what this clip's going to be for. So this wide receiver is running a comeback route. So he does a little peek back, tempo change, and he stops on a dime on a comeback. Ball was thrown a little bit high, but his level change and his feet out of the break were great. So you see when he snaps down, I want you to pay attention to the mechanics first. He snaps, what's his butt do? He sits down. He is not bending at the waist. Where is his chin? His chin is going to his knee. It is not like he is straight up in the air. He is not leaning past his knee. Chin goes to the knee, and you sit your butt down in a chair. I say this analogy all the time to my receivers, like at school, when you're about to sit down into a desk. You don't lean with your chest first and put your chest on the desk and then sit your butt down. You just sit your butt down. That's what we need at the break point. It just has to happen fast. Chin to knee, sit your butt down. So now you see when he gets out of this break, he snaps, starts to pivot his feet, but you see how his steps stay inside of his frame. Those steps are powerful steps. Those steps will help you come to balance. So many wide receivers, one, will turn out of the break before their feet get down, like we saw with Tank Dell, Or what they will do is they'll have this aggressive snap down step right here where they'll change levels, but the steps afterwards are almost like those beat the drum steps where he takes all those choppy steps. They'll snap and then they take all these choppy steps and drift upfield. But when you snap and take powerful steps after the fact, that can drive you out of the break, eliminate wasted time, and help you with balance if those stay inside your frame. So fellas, that's the recipe for that explosive cut. Everybody shows the examples of, oh, this receiver's stopping on a dime, this receiver's snapping down, oh, here are the drills to work on this. But what's the actual technique? What are those drills actually working on? And that's what I wanted to cover in this video. So let's play this again, full speed one more time. This is a great example of the correct hip drop. Could this receiver have caught this? You know, maybe, but the ball was thrown probably very early and a little bit high. QBs should put that comeback low and away, so I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But overall, that is a great break. All right, fellas, I really want to thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to leave those in the comment section below. Always appreciate the feedback. It's always great to hear from you guys. And again, fellas, if you would like a 4-week wide receiver gym and field workout plan that you can do, check out that very first link in the description below. We'd love to get you on that. I'll see you guys next time.